This is QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Umudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. First, here are the main news headlines. Hundreds of Gambians, including the Vice President of the Gambia, Mohamed B.S. Jallow, gathered to pay their last respects to prominent Islamic scholar and translator Aja Maimuna Savage, who passed away on Friday. The Food Safety and Quality Authority, FSQA, and partners undertook 2 days training on Produce Safety Alliance from a food safety professor visiting from Mississippi State University. In international news, these days, Africa, including the Gambia, pays great attention to the deliberations of Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, CPC's third plenum, which ended this week. Also in international news, a press conference was held today, Saturday, outlining what is joining the G20 means for Africa, and Africa is going to be represented there by the African Union. In sports news, Beniam Girmay, a 24-year-old Eritrean, has made history by claiming victory in 3 stages of this year's Tour de France. Those were the news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. Hundreds of Gambians, including the Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow, gathered to pay their last respects to prominent Islamic scholar and translator Aja Maimuna Savage, who passed away on Friday morning. As Jennifer Sonko reports, she was remembered for her consistency in promoting Islam, especially amongst women.
Born in Banjul into a very religious family, her father served as an imam in Banjul for 36 years. Aja Maimuna Savage attended Methodist Preparatory School and Gambia High School. She served as a secretary to the Sierra Leone High Commission to the Gambia, worked as a banker, and served as an appointed member of the Gambia Hajj Commission. Until her demise, she was a preacher and translator at the Gambia Radio and Television Services. She established the Mohammedia Daliu English and Arabic School, named after her late dad. Here is the brother of the late Aja Maimuna Savage, Imam Muhammad Salim Savage.
I can remember in 2004, we went to Makkah together. And those days were very beautiful days for us. Because I can remember when we left Muzdalifah for Mina, I was with her. While she was moving behind me, I said to her, Aja Maimuna, I hope you are coming. He said, my brother, just continue to move. Soon I will be with you. And we walked from Muzdalifah to Mina. She's a very strong woman. Indeed, strong in faith, strong physically, and also morally and mentally. So we hope that where she is going now will be better than where she came from.
In 1997, Madam Savage established the Islamic Cultural Center for Women and Children, providing Islamic education and guidance to women and children. Imam Babali remembers Aja Maimuna Savage for her contributions to the rights and welfare of women and children.
Aja Maimuna can give out all what she has in the name of Islam and education. She's somebody who loves to educate people and who loves to ask questions to gain more knowledge and enlightenment. In a nutshell, we lost a very important somebody in the field of education, in the field of Islam, in the field of women's rights in Islamic basis. So really, we'll miss her a lot.
Aja Maimuna Savage was the host of a show on the Gambia Radio and Television Services called The Message. In one of her interviews with the Point newspaper, she highlighted that she's making compilations and translation of the Holy Quran in English to be made good use of even when she passes on. Here is Moda Juve, Deputy Director General of GRTS Television.
I remembered her for her generosity, because even the little stipend that we pay her for the services it does at the radio and TV, whenever this lady receives this amount of money, however meager or mean it is, she will come down and dish it out to our staff, the cleaners for that matter, and the gardeners. She's been doing that perpetually, continuously. Even yesterday, she had to call the cashier to say, I will not able to come and collect my money, but give it to my sister. So she was very, very generous.
While serving as an appointed member of the Hajj Commission, Aja Maimuna Savage became the first woman Hajj guide in the Gambia. She transferred the skills of being an excellent Hajj guide to her daughter, Aisha Tafsirgay, under the Tuwawan Travel on Tours. Here is the CEO of the travel agency, Aja Mariama Adelaide C., who was also the late Aja Maimuna Savage's friend.
My Savage was my big sister and my best friend, because she has advised us in so many arenas in the Islamic Ummah. Whatever I do in religion, from Hajj to my dairas, to my daras, the madrasas to the mosques, she always participates and she always helps me. My chief guide said that Aisha is her daughter, and she left Aisha to me, to my custody, mashallah, alhamdulillah. So definitely today I miss a dear friend and sister. So all I'm saying is I just pray for her, for Jannatul Firdaus to be her final resting place.
Dr. Ahmadul Amin Samate, the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, was among the cabinet ministers who came to pay their last respects. He describes the late Aja Maimuna Savage as an inspiration who has inspired generations. The minister highlighted that his children attended the school established and founded by the late Aja Maimuna Savage, which has helped his children master the Holy Quran better than he has.
Aja Mai Savage has been inculcating good in the youth of this country. From her preaching on the radio, in the other social gatherings, and to the school. This school has played an important role in the lives of so many people, even before the school came here. When people teach children and human beings good moral values, they make a difference in society. That's what Aja Mai Savage has been doing for the country.
Aja Maimuna Savage will be remembered for the numerous lives she has impacted through her relentless efforts to promote Islam, especially amongst her fellow women. She will be missed particularly during the holy month of Ramadan, where she used to accompany Muslims with her preaching and translation of the Holy Quran. We pray that her soul rests in the highest of Jannah.
The best amongst you is the one who learns the Quran and then teaches it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, let there arise out of you a group of people calling others to Islam, teaching them what is good and forbidding what is wrong to them.
Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
Sad news there. May her soul rest in Jannah. The Food Safety and Quality Authority and partners undertook 2 days training on Produce Safety Alliance from a food safety professional visiting from Mississippi State University as part of Gambia's participation in a scientific exchange fellowship program. Julian Jai has the details.
In 2023, the United States Department of Agriculture Foreign Agricultural Service, in collaboration with the African Union, implemented a scientific exchange fellowship program at the Mississippi State University for 11 fellows from 8 African countries, including the Gambia. Dr. Juan L. Silva, a food safety professor at Mississippi State University, is on a reciprocal visit to the Gambia to assess the work environment of Baidudu Jallo, the fellow from the Gambia, and also familiarize himself with the realities he faces. Here is Dr. Silva on how the training will help Gambia's food safety system.
So it was an enlightening training with a lot of discussion, and that hopefully the producers here and the other participants can then translate to farmers and other people that handle produce to maybe one day export to the U.S. so they know what the requirements are, or export to anywhere else, or also to implement practices to minimize contamination of the product for the Gambian population.
Dr. Silva also highlighted what his observations are about Gambia's food safety systems, and he further went to advise the farmers in application of the standards.
I think it's a stepwise process. I think the Gambia farmers and handlers of produce, of fruits and vegetables, have a good backing of technical knowledge to then enhance the possibility of growing good product and exporting. Hygiene at the farm and hygienic practices, and then also to document what they do, and in turn assess what are the risks associated with them handling the product.
By Dudu Jallo, Director of Scientific Affairs at the Food Safety and Quality Authority, says in an evolving world, capacity building is key for strengthening one's system to be able to tackle various challenges.
This fellowship, which is mainly capacity building for the fellows, is very key because coming back, you are able to share a lot of practices, especially the good ones, and this will help strengthen our food safety system. So really, I think the fellowship is very good.
Meanwhile, the quality and safety of food are fundamental to a country's development and health, especially during this time of the rainy season. Mr. Jallo says they are not relenting in their quest to ensure that the foods consumed are safe.
Level of inspection is going to increase, really, especially at the markets and so on, to make sure we work very closely with those who are selling food and those who are putting food on the market, to make sure that some of these things are minimized. The risk is minimized. The risk cannot be eliminated completely, but we are working on how to minimize it as much as possible. So, as I said, it's a challenge. It's a very, very critical challenge.
Mr. Jallo thanked all those who participated in the training. For QTV News, I am Julden Yai.
These days, Africa, including the Gambia, pays great attention to the deliberations of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China's CPC's third plenum, which ended this week. Here is a report from CGTN.
The 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China adopted a resolution on further deepening reform comprehensively to advance Chinese modernization at its third plenary session held in Beijing from Monday to Thursday. The Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee presided over the meeting. General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee Xi Jinping delivered important addresses, according to a communique released on Thursday. The communique noted that the overall objectives of further deepening reform comprehensively are to continue improving and developing the system of socialism with Chinese characteristics and modernize China's system and capacity for governance. It says by 2035, China will have finished building a high-standard socialist market economy in all respects, further improve the system of socialism with Chinese characteristics, and generally modernize its system and capacity for governance and basically realize socialist modernization. The document noted that all of this will lay a solid foundation for building China into a great modern socialist country in all respects by the middle of this century. The CPC Central Committee made systematic plans for further deepening reform comprehensively. For example, in building a high-standard socialist market economy, the role of the market must be better leveraged with a fairer and more dynamic market environment to be fostered, and resource allocation to be made as efficient and productive as possible. The communique added that restrictions on the market will be lifted while effective regulation will be ensured to better maintain order in the market and remedy its failures. In promoting high-quality development, the communique urged deepening supply-side structural reform, improving incentive and constraint mechanisms for promoting high-quality development, and creating new drivers and strength for realizing growth. Describing opening up as a defining feature of Chinese modernization, the communique says that China will steadily expand institutional opening up, deepen the foreign trade structural reform, further reform the management systems for inward and outward investment, improve its planning for regional opening up, and refine the mechanisms for high-quality cooperation under the Belt and Road Initiative. Sun Tianyuan, CGTN, Beijing.
From that report, now we'll take a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more news, especially international and sports. Do stay tuned.
Hello, boss. Operation launched. Go on, Bomber, go on. I don't understand. What is it, Bomber? Hello, boss. I don't understand. Amazing discounts on all the best products.
But it's really easy to understand. During Buddy Days, take advantage of exceptional discounts up to 50% on tile, sanitary, and light. From June 29th to July 13th, you will be splurging. Buddy Mat, welcome home.
Dear QTV viewers, we have an important announcement for you. Starting from the 12th of August 2024, QTV will be broadcasting on a new frequency. To continue enjoying your favorite shows, please make sure to update your satellite settings to our new frequency before the 12th of August 2024. QTV's new frequency is Eutelsat 7A, 7E, transponder 12686H30000. With this change, we aim to bring you an even better viewing experience with clearer picture and sound. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause and thank you for your understanding. Stay tuned to QTV, where your favorite programs just keep getting better. QTV, a new era in broadcasting.
Welcome back and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. Now let's head straight into international news. The African Union, AU, held its first meeting within the G20 since it became a member in November last year. A press conference was held today, Saturday, giving an update on what it means for Africa and how Africa is going to be represented by the African Union at the G20. Lena Igwanyiba reports.
The African Union's elevation to permanent group of 20 G20 membership, now transforming the group into the G21, marks a significant milestone for the continent. Previously an invited international organization, the AU now joins the European Union and 19 other major economies including the US, UK and China. Albert Muchanga, African Union Commissioner for Economic Development, Tourism, Trade, Industry and Minerals, discussed how the AU will participate in the G20.
When it comes to participation in the G20 Leaders Summit, the African Union is going to be represented by the current chairperson of the African Union and the chairperson of the African Union Commission. When it comes to participation in the ministerial meetings, and there are several of them, the chairpersons of the specialized technical committees, accompanied by the respective commissioners, are going to represent the African Union in the ministerial meetings of the G20. And we also have a number of technical working groups. And there, the directors across the African Union system who have worked in the G20 are going to be representing us. And to this end, we've come up with a directory of African Union representatives in the G20.
The joining of the African Union was praised by many, including the United Nations, Kenyan and South African presidents, among others, as it would elevate Africa's global representation, attract investment and foster collaborations with major economies. The G20's expansion to include the AU will enable the AU to influence global policies on trade, climate change and security, aligning them with Africa's priorities and promoting a more inclusive global governance system. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwanyiba.
Amid ongoing mass protests in the country, Kenya's President William Ruto has announced his partial cabinet, which includes 6 members from the now dissolved cabinet. In a recent media briefing at the State House, Ruto called for calm while stressing his desire for a stable and prosperous Kenya. Ansumane Sonyasi reports.
The anti-government protest followed weeks of intense media and social campaigns against President Ruto's plans to institute a new tax regime that many, especially young people, said was aimed at further impoverishing the less privileged in the country. For 2 weeks, they have taken to the streets demanding that the proposed tax should not be implemented. And after several fatalities, coupled with both local and international pressure, the president yielded to the demands of protesters. However, they have carried on protesting, further demanding the government's dissolution or sacking of some cabinet ministers. Ruto, who first appeared defiant, in the end gave in to their demands once more, dissolving his entire cabinet a few days after the chief of police resigned. In a media briefing, The president called for calm, assuring the nation's young people of his resolve to form a unifying, broad-based cabinet that will lead Kenya's transformation.
The people of Kenya have expressed
Well, our apologies there in that story. You are not able to hear the sound, especially Kenya's president there, William Ruto, speaking about the post-protest there. Now, let's head to sports news. Eritrean cyclists were silenced by European colonizers, the Italians, and forbidden from riding competitively. Biniam Girmay, a 24-year-old Eritrean, has not only broken those chains, but shattered them, claiming victory in 3 stages of this year's Tour de France. To his fans, he is the African king, a groundbreaking international star. Our reporter Lena E. Igwenyiba uncovers the inspiring journey of this cycling icon.
From a childhood dream fueled by his cousin, African champion Meren Teshome, to a family deeply rooted in cycling, his younger brother now a professional rider, and his father a carpenter, watching the Tour de France on TV each year, Biniam Girmay has not only made it to the Tour de France, but has etched his name into its history. Before he crossed the finish line, Biniam Girmay sat up on his bicycle, he let go of his handlebars, smiled to himself and punched the air in triumph. Behind him, still paddling hard, were 175 of the world's best cyclists. The Tour de France is the world's oldest and most prestigious cycling race. Over 21 grueling stages spanning 3,500 kilometers, cyclists raced through streets, mountains, and picturesque country roads. Never before in its 121-year history had a stage been worn by an Eritrean or a black African until Biniam. The 24-year-old defied expectations by winning not just stage 3, but also stages 8 and 12, and is currently wearing the iconic green jersey awarded to the best sprinter. Celebrations were especially intense in Asmara, Eritrea's capital, where cycling is revered. Cycling is Eritrea's most popular sport and has deep roots, with the sport introduced by Italian colonizers in the late 1800s. Eritrean cyclists have historically faced and overcome considerable obstacles, including civil war and diplomatic isolation. For many, professional cycling offers a rare escape from mandatory military service, driving them to excel. Biniam's success is a beacon of hope for African cyclists. He has called for greater investment in African talent, urging international teams to support and believe in cyclists from the continent. His journey from overcoming the challenges of his homeland to achieving global acclaim underscores the potential within Africa's cycling community. Biniam Girmay is not just a champion, he is a trailblazer opening doors for future generations of African cyclists. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwanyiba.
Now, before we end this news bulletin, here is a recap of our main news headlines. Gambians. Hundreds of Gambians, including the Vice President of the Gambia, Mohamed B.S. Jallow, gathered to pay their last respects to prominent Islamic scholar and translator Ajah Maimuna Savage, who passed away on Friday. The Food Safety and Quality Authority FSQA and partners undertook 2 days training on Produce Safety Alliance from a food safety professional visiting from Mississippi State University. In international news these days, Africa, including the Gambia, pays great attention to the deliberations of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China's CPC's third plenum, which ended this week. Also in international news, a press conference was held today, Saturday, outlining what joining the G20 means for Africa and how Africa is going to be represented there by the African Union. And in sports news, Biniam Girmay, a 24-year-old Eritrean, has made history by claiming victory in 3 stages of this year's Tour de France. That's all we have time for in this bulletin. And join us on Saturday, or Sunday rather, 8 p.m. for This Week in Review, and with Ade Darame and Momodou Mbodj, Lamin Sonko with the sign language interpretation. Thank you very much for watching and have a pleasant night. Bye.